Supplemental math videos from Circle Christian School.
Hello, here's your video to the Heart of Coordinate Planes study guide. Graph it, evaluate it, solve it. Welcome to the function junction. It is the third math. First came geometry, then algebra, and now the coordinate plane. Definitely need to know your forms. Standard, general, slope, intercept. Know how to change those forms. That's what we got here. Okay, standard. AX plus BY equals C. Burn them into your brain. As you study, take a look at those forms, okay? Take a look at those forms. That's kind of the vocabulary. Prime your brain a little bit each day. Honestly, 5-10 minutes. It's about practice, guys. Find a problem to practice. Take that practice test. If at first you had something wrong and it wasn't quite right, make a copy of it. And, well, in fact, do it on a sheet of paper. Keep it blank. And do it again. Do it several times. Know how to change those forms. So, for instance, if you had something like, oh, I think I actually have it on the next slide. So I'm going to go to that. All right, changing to slope, intercept. I'm going to go red here. It didn't turn red. Okay, let's try again. Are you red now? I think you are. All right. We're getting the y all by itself here, okay? That's the deal. I do not put the negative 2x or the minus 2x under the 18 because they're not like terms. Step by step. Negative 3y equals, I like putting the x first. I know some teachers do it differently and just go that way, but it's just a good practice to put it into proper form. After all, we're doing forms here. Okay, the negative 3 is being multiplied to the y, so that means we have to divide everybody by it. United we stand, divide them all. Watch your integers. A negative over a negative is a positive. I like keeping them in fraction form because that gives me my slope. So far up and down, so far back and forth. Changing to general form means that we're going to set everything to 0. So basically these guys have to move to the other side. When moving to the other side, we do what? We change the sign. So my y is going to stay here. We have a negative 1/2 x. We're going to have a positive 2. I did that a little far over. It's all right. Okay. We have to make sure that all the numbers are whole and that there are no negatives up front. So I'm going to multiply everybody by my common denominator here. This is a little bit like, if you want to think of it this way, we're ditching the demon. We're getting rid of the denominators. So I'm going to multiply everybody here by a negative 2. Which will give me a positive x, a negative 2y. It's okay for the y to have a negative, just not the x, minus a 4 equals a 0. And if we were to put that in standard form, okay, if we were going to standard form, that is the cake in a box instead of an empty box, it would be x minus 2y equals the 4 would jump. See? It's a manipulation kind of thing. Know your formulas. Slope. I'm going to start it as a template. Okay, difference of the y's. Difference of the x's. Remember, so far up and down, so far back and forth. Point slope. Y minus the y's equals the slope. X minus x. Okay, you need two things. You need a point. You need an x and a y. And you need a slope. Midpoint is the middle, so it's the average of the x's. Sets of 2. Average of the y's. There's the cuckoo clock. Which of course gives us our middle, our third point. Distance. Think of the little sleepy owl. There's his little eyelashes. There's his little eyes. Make a template, guys. Make a template. There's a difference in where the first point was and where the second point was, which is why we have a difference in sight here. Anything that has some measurement to it is going to have a difference to it because you have traveled from one place to another. All right, a word about distance or length. Distance, length is always positive. You'll never get a negative answer. Yes, you might get a radical, an imperfect radical answer, like say, for instance, the square root of 72. But remember what you do with that to make them simplified. You got to be able to see it both ways. Is to go down to the primes. Circle your primes. Eight is always 2, 2, and 2. Then find your twins. There's one. There's one. They're factors, so anything left out, anything that comes outside is multiplied together. Anything that's left inside is multiplied together. Anything squared is always positive. It doesn't matter if it's a negative or a positive, okay? Anything squared is always going to be positive. Yay, there we go. Before you start, label, 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 label. Guys, label. Make a template. Both. Label and template. That's the beauty of formulas. They're made to be put into. Common mistake is going to be the signs. Define the equation of a line. That is the y mx plus b. You need two things. You need a point. You need a slope. Okay? Every line has at least 2 points on it. Those 2 points give you a slope. It takes a formula. A formula is a recipe. Make a template, make a template, make a template. Okay? Sometimes slopes are hidden. In other words, maybe you need to find a line that has a point on it, but it's parallel. That means they have same slopes. Or you need to find a line that's perpendicular to an original line. Perpendicular lines are opposite sign of reciprocal. Think about it. Think, perpendicular. If I'm to do this, which is a negative slope, all right, and it's going so far down, so far over, then the one that's perpendicular is now positive and has an opposite pitch to it. So that would be your reciprocal. So find your slope, pick your point, put it into the template, find the equation of your line. Okay, guys. Good luck. Make sure you prime your brain.